Hey, here's a fun fact. The CIA accidentally set the stage for the Iranian Revolution. So what exactly happened? To understand, we need to go all the way back to 1951, when Iran was ruled by a constitutional monarchy. At the time, the prime minister was Mohammad Mossadegh. Mossadegh believed Iran's resources should belong to Iranians and not foreign companies. So what did he do? Well, he nationalized the oil industry and took away control from the British-owned Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. As you can imagine, the Brits were not happy, especially because they relied heavily on Iranian oil profits. So, in retaliation, they imposed an oil embargo on Iran and tried to pressure Mossadegh to reverse his decision. And he said no. So Britain turned to its big, great red, white, and blue, freedom-bringing, McDonald's-eating, eagle-screeching, mobility scooter-riding friend, the US of A. Here is where the story gets really messy. It was the early 1950s, and the US was in the thick of it in the Cold War, and they were pretty terrified of Soviet influence spreading to the Middle East. Britain just convinced the US that Mossadegh was leading towards communism. Their claim had barely any evidence, but as we all know, the US, when they hear about communism, they go nuts. So, the USA put out the CIA and launched its first major covert operation, Operation Ajax. Operation Ajax was a super secret mega secret plan to overthrow Mossadegh and reinstate Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who was much friendlier to the West. The CIA bribed Iranian officials, planted fake news in the newspapers, and organized protests to make it look like the country was in total chaos under Mossadegh's leadership. It worked, and in 1953, Mossadegh was gone, and the Shah was reinstated with the support of the US and Britain. For the next 25 years, Iran's oil was back under Western control, and the Shah ruled with an iron fist. While the Shah focused on modernizing Iran and strengthening ties with the West, his rule wasn't really that popular. Many Iranians saw him as a puppet of foreign powers, and his government was plagued by corruption. The growing wealth gap and suppression of religious and cultural values fueled resentment across the country. By the 70s, protests erupted across all of Iran, led by a growing Islamic movement. The Shah's harsh crackdown only made things worse. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution overthrew the Shah, and this old guy called Ayatollah Khomeini established the Islamic Republic of Iran. And just like that, America's once loyal ally was now one of its biggest enemies, and it still is to this day.